How planting trees could save thousands of lives every year. Groundbreaking research reveals a simple life-saving solution for urban areas. The health benefits are remarkable. Photo credit, iStock. A fascinating new study has revealed that urban forestry isn't just environmentally beneficial. It could actually save thousands of lives. The research, published in The Lancet, presents compelling evidence that trees might be one of our most undervalued public health resources. The comprehensive investigation examined tree canopy coverage across 744 urban centers, spanning 36 European countries. Scientists meticulously analyzed how tree presence correlates with air pollution mortality rates, specifically focusing on fine particulate matter, nitrogen dioxide, and ozone-related deaths. The findings are striking. Each modest 5 percentage point increase in urban tree canopy could prevent 4,727 premature deaths annually across these cities. Even more impressive, if these urban areas achieved a 30% tree canopy coverage, researchers estimate 11,974 premature deaths could be prevented each year. Our analysis clearly demonstrates the substantial public health advantages of expanding tree coverage in urban environments, the researchers emphasized. This approach contributes significantly to creating sustainable, livable, and healthier metropolitan areas for residents. But here's where it gets particularly interesting. This research builds upon an already robust foundation of evidence supporting the health benefits of urban greenery. Previous studies have established compelling connections between tree proximity and cardiovascular health. Additionally, groundbreaking research from Boston University demonstrated that individuals residing in greener urban environments experience noticeably slower cognitive decline as they age. Trees also serve as crucial allies in our battle against climate change through their natural carbon sequestration abilities. According to data from One Tree Planted, a single tree absorbs approximately 22 pounds of carbon dioxide annually during its first 2 decades of life. A remarkable natural climate solution hiding in plain sight. From our partner, slash your solar installation costs by $10,000 without sharing your phone number. Hesitant about solar because of pushy salespeople? Energy Sage offers a refreshingly different approach with free, transparent quotes from thoroughly vetted providers that can help you save up to $10,000 on installation costs. Begin. Unlock the power of nature for better brain function. Here's something that might shock you. That afternoon mental fog you blame on too much coffee or a heavy lunch? It could actually be your brain crying out for something as simple as a walk among trees. Most people think spending time outdoors is just a nice-to-have luxury, something you do when you have spare time or perfect weather. But here's where it gets controversial. What if I told you that your relationship with nature might be as crucial to your cognitive health as the food you eat or the sleep you get? Dr. Mark Berman, a psychology professor at the University of Chicago and founder of the Environmental Neuroscience Lab, has spent years proving that our ancestors might have been onto something profound. His groundbreaking book, Nature and the Mind, reveals research that challenges everything we think we know about productivity, mental health, and what our brains actually need to function at their peak. And this is the part most people miss. You don't need to be a nature lover or outdoor enthusiast to benefit. Even people who actively disliked their nature exposure still experienced measurable cognitive improvements. So what exactly is environmental neuroscience, and why should you care? Berman pioneered this field after being deeply influenced by his grandparents' Holocaust survival stories. He became fascinated by how our surroundings can push ordinary people toward extraordinary actions, both positive and negative. This curiosity led him to discover the work of psychologist Stephen Kaplan, who developed something called attention restoration theory. Think of this theory as a user manual for your brain's attention system. Kaplan proposed that natural environments have a unique ability to help our minds recover from mental exhaustion. Berman's team designed an experiment that would make any productivity guru jealous. They gathered participants and put them through a grueling mental workout, specifically a backwards digit span test that's designed to completely drain your working memory. Imagine trying to remember a series of numbers while reciting them in reverse order. Exhausting, right? After this mental marathon, they split the participants into two groups. Half walked through a peaceful park setting, while the others navigated busy city streets. Both groups covered the same distance and spent the same amount of time walking. The results were nothing short of remarkable. The nature walkers improved their cognitive performance by approximately 20% when they retook the test. The urban walkers? No improvement whatsoever. But here's the most surprising part. Even participants who complained about their nature walk, including those trudging through freezing Chicago winters, still experienced these cognitive gains. This suggests something deeper is happening than just feeling good outdoors. To understand why nature has this almost magical effect on our brains, we need to dive into how attention actually works. Your brain operates with two distinct attention systems, and most people have no idea they exist. The first is called directed attention. This is your conscious, effortful focus that you use for work, studying, or any task requiring concentration. Think of it as your brain's battery, and just like any battery, it depletes with use. That's exactly why you feel mentally drained by 3 p.m. The second system is involuntary attention. This activates automatically when something naturally captures your interest. Picture the way your eyes are drawn to flickering flames, flowing water, or swaying branches. Scientists call this soft fascination. It's engaging enough to hold your interest, but gentle enough to give your directed attention a much-needed break. Natural environments are perfectly designed to trigger this soft fascination response. The rustling of leaves, the pattern of sunlight filtering through branches, the rhythmic sound of waves. These elements create an ideal cognitive rest stop for your overworked brain. But the benefits extend far beyond just sharper focus and better memory. Berman's research has uncovered a treasure trove of additional benefits that might make you rethink your entire approach to health and wellness. Mental health improvements are particularly striking. When Berman studied people with clinical depression, he initially worried that spending time alone in nature might increase rumination and worsen symptoms. Instead, he discovered the opposite. Depressed participants showed even greater cognitive improvements than healthy individuals after nature exposure. Hospital recovery data reveals something equally compelling. Patients recovering from surgery who had window views of trees required less pain medication and were discharged earlier than those staring at brick walls. This suggests nature doesn't just affect our minds, it influences our physical healing processes. Educational performance also gets a significant boost. Children with more green space around their schools and homes consistently performed better on attention and memory assessments. Even when researchers controlled for socioeconomic factors, this challenges the assumption that academic success is purely about resources and teaching quality. Perhaps most controversially, Berman's team found that access to nature actually influences crime rates and aggression levels. In Chicago public housing projects, residents with even modest nature views, just a few trees or patches of grass, showed measurably lower aggression and lived in buildings with less reported criminal activity. One Toronto study produced results that should make urban planners everywhere take notice. Adding just one average-sized tree per city block improved residents' self-reported health as much as moving to a neighborhood with a $10,000 higher median income. So how can you harness these benefits without completely overhauling your lifestyle? The good news is that you don't need to become a wilderness expert or relocate to the countryside. Berman's research points to several practical strategies. Target 2 hours of nature exposure per week. That breaks down to roughly 20 minutes daily. This appears to be the minimum effective dose for supporting attention and overall well-being. But here's what's interesting. It doesn't have to be consecutive time. Timing matters more than you might think. The optimal moment for a nature break is when your mental energy starts flagging, typically mid-afternoon or after extended periods of screen time. Instead of reaching for another cup of coffee, consider stepping outside. Even simulated nature can provide benefits, though they're not quite as powerful as the real thing. Looking at nature photographs or listening to natural sounds for just 10 minutes can still support cognitive function. This means you can create nature-inspired breaks, even in windowless offices or urban environments. Redesigning your immediate environment can also help. Adding plants, nature views, or even images of natural scenes to your workspace and home can provide ongoing benefits throughout the day. Don't let weather become an excuse. Berman's research shows that nature's cognitive benefits persist regardless of conditions. Rain, snow, or cold weather don't diminish the positive effects. Bundle up and go anyway. But here's where things get controversial. If nature access is this fundamental to human cognitive function and public health, shouldn't we be treating it as a basic necessity rather than a luxury amenity? Berman argues that our current approach to urban planning, healthcare, and education is missing a crucial piece of the puzzle. A lot of people still think of nature as an amenity, he explains, but it's a necessity. This raises uncomfortable questions about health equity and social justice. If access to nature significantly impacts cognitive function, mental health, and even crime rates, what does this mean for communities with limited green space? Are we inadvertently creating cognitive disadvantages for people in nature-poor environments? The research suggests that nature exposure supports everything from attention and memory to emotional regulation, immune function, and physical recovery. Yet, most healthcare systems barely acknowledge these connections, let alone incorporate them into treatment protocols. So here's my challenge to you. Given what we now know about nature's profound impact on brain function, how will you restructure your daily routine? Will you dismiss this as interesting but impractical? Or will you recognize it as a potentially game-changing tool for cognitive enhancement? More importantly, do you think our society has a responsibility to ensure equitable access to nature-rich environments? Or is this just another case of privileged individuals having access to better health resources? I'd love to hear your thoughts, and more importantly, your experiences. Have you noticed cognitive changes after spending time in nature? Do you think we're undervaluing something as fundamental as our connection to the natural world? Share your perspective and let's start a conversation about what this research really means for how we live, work, and design our communities. Boost mental health in just 15 minutes a day. Nature therapy for city dwellers. Imagine living in a bustling city and discovering that a mere 15-minute daily dose of nature could significantly enhance your mental health. Yes, you read that right. This isn't just a claim. It's a finding backed by recent research from Stanford and Leiden University in the Netherlands. But here's where it gets interesting. The study reveals that all forms of urban nature, from parks to street trees, can uplift your spirits. Urban forests, in particular, are especially beneficial for alleviating depression and anxiety. And this is the part most people miss. The research doesn't just stop at the positive effects of nature. It also highlights the importance of different types of nature and how they impact mental health. For instance, urban forests and parks have a more significant impact on mental health than street trees or grassy areas. The study's senior author, Anne Geary, Chief Strategy Officer and lead scientist at Stanford's Natural Capital Project, explains that previous studies have documented strong links between contact with nature and mental health. However, most studies either can't infer a causal link, can't be easily generalized, or aren't designed to distinguish the effects of different types of nature. This analysis helps fill that gap. Gary's team analyzed data from 78 field-based studies involving nearly 5,900 participants. They found that even brief contact, less than 15 minutes, with nature can provide significant mental benefits. Longer nature exposure, more than 45 minutes, is linked to even greater reductions in stress and boosts in vitality. Young adults seem to reap the most benefits, with the study authors pointing out that many mental health conditions develop before the age of 25. The findings were published in the journal Nature Cities. The researchers emphasize that you don't need major parks to get the job done. They encourage city planners and policymakers to explore adding smaller pocket parks, more street trees and greenery, nature-filled spots, and guided park meditations. So the next time you're feeling down, take a walk in the park or simply sit under a tree. You might be surprised at how much better you feel. And if you're a city planner or policymaker, consider adding more green spaces to your city. It's not just good for the environment, it's good for the people who live there. But what do you think? Do you agree that spending time in nature can significantly boost mental health? Or do you think there are other factors at play? Let us know in the comments below.